Okay, let's dive straight into this explainer. We're zeroing in on success resentment and reputation sabotage, basically how deeply insecure people try to diminish your worth. We are talking about that awful, completely confusing feeling when someone is just cold to you for literally no reason. You know the exact vibe I'm talking about. You didn't do anything to them, maybe you barely even know them, but man, you can feel it in the air. They're distant, they're closed off, and honestly, it really messes with your head. People usually give you the same generic advice. Oh, just ignore it. Kill them with kindness. They'll warm up eventually. But looking at our source material today, that is absolutely not how this works. When someone dislikes you out of nowhere, there actually is a very specific reason. It just happens to have absolutely nothing to do with you. Let's break down the highly predictable behavioral patterns these folks share so we can unmask exactly how they operate. Naturally, when faced with this unexplainable hostility, the very first thing that pops into your head is, wait, did I do something wrong? You inevitably start replaying every single conversation, right? You tear apart your past interactions, desperately trying to figure out what you could have possibly done to offend them. But here's the crucial thing. You have to validate what you already suspect deep down. You didn't do anything wrong. The real reason they don't like you is tied entirely to what you represent to them. Maybe your confidence highlights exactly what they lack, or your happiness shines a giant spotlight on their own misery. Whatever the specific trigger is, the second they feel threatened by your presence, they fall back on a very, very predictable playbook. Which brings us to Section 1, the subtle signs of sabotage and decoding that coldness. Now, this is usually the most jarring sign right out of the gate. The immediate contrast. Watch them with everyone else. They're warm, they're laughing, joking around, making super easy conversation. But then you walk over, and boom, the energy just drops. They turn ice cold, their smile literally vanishes, and they either get dead quiet or just physically leave the area. And you're left standing there like, what on earth just happened? It's not social anxiety, it's not just about mood, it is highly, highly specific to you. So what's actually happening here? This calculated power move is known as selective hostility. Their brain essentially tags you as a threat. Because being friendly with you would mean actually accepting you, they manufacture this distance on purpose. The crazy contrast between how they treat everyone else and how they treat you, it's completely intentional. They want you to feel that chill. They want you to feel excluded. It's their sneaky way of making you feel small without ever having to say a single aggressive word. And as you spend a little more time around them, you're going to notice deliberate avoidance. It's subtle at first, but once you spot it, you literally cannot unsee it. When you're speaking, they'll stare at their phone, look at the wall, look at absolutely anyone else in the group, but they purposefully refuse to make eye contact with you. Why? Well, eye contact builds connection, right? It signals respect. By withholding it, they are subconsciously refusing to give you the basic respect of their attention. Looking at you would mean acknowledging you as an equal, and to them, your competition, so they actively try to pretend you just don't exist. Next up is social invalidation. And oh man, this one is infuriating, especially at work. Picture this. You share a fantastic idea in a meeting. Crickets. They completely ignore it, acting like you didn't even open your mouth. But then, 5 minutes later, someone else suggests basically the exact same thing, and suddenly, it's the greatest idea in the history of the world. They refuse to acknowledge your contributions because doing so would give you social credit. In their minds, if they can act like you're irrelevant, maybe you'll actually become irrelevant. It's all about making sure you do not get the credit you deserve. All right, moving on to Section 2, Tactics of Reputation Sabotage and how they plant seeds of doubt. See, because they don't have a real tangible reason to dislike you, they can't come at you directly. Instead, they rely on vague hearsay and these tiny, subtle digs to sabotage your reputation. It sounds exactly like this. Yeah, I don't know, they seem nice, but something just feels off. They try so hard, don't they? It's nothing overtly terrible, right? But it's just enough to plant a tiny seed of doubt in everyone else's mind. They paint you as suspicious or fake. And the absolute sneakiest part of the whole shebang, if you ever call them out on it, they have total plausible deniability. They'll play the victim, say you misunderstood, or even claim they were actually defending you. It's a super low-risk way for them to do high-impact damage to your reputation. And it all boils down to this ultimate goal, isolating the threat. By turning other people against you, or at least making them second-guess your authenticity, they guarantee they don't have to face your confidence all by themselves. If they can infect others with their insecure view of you, they feel a whole lot safer. Let's dive into Section 3, the trap of success resentment. This is what happens when your win feels like their loss. Just think about the stark difference between these two scenarios. In your reality, you get a promotion, you hit a massive life goal, or maybe you just share a piece of really good news. Your real friends cheer for you. But their reaction? A tight, forced little smile. They get super stiff and quiet. They might abruptly change the subject, or worse, they desperately try to downplay your win. They'll drop a line like, "Oh, well, it's not really that hard to get promoted in that department, right?" They physically cannot mask how bothered they are by your joy. And that perfectly captures the essence of success resentment. In their mind, life is a zero-sum game. It's a never-ending competition. Because they view the world through that twisted lens, every single good thing that happens to you feels like a direct personal failure for them. Your success reminds them of their lack of success. Your happiness puts a giant spotlight on their unhappiness. They literally have to minimize your big moments because admitting you're doing well forces them to look at how far behind they feel in their own lives. Okay, section 4, the root cause, insecurity. Time to unmask the real culprit here. I really, really want to emphasize this. You need to burn this into your brain. It is not about you. You could literally be the kindest, most helpful, most genuine human being on the planet, and they would still find a reason to hate you. Why? Because this was never about your actions. Rational solutions, like trying to be extra nice or bending over backwards to prove your worth, are never going to work here because this is not a rational problem. It really comes down to a simple comparison. A secure person is happy. They're busy building their own success, and your presence doesn't threaten them in the slightest. But the insecure person? To them, you're just a giant mirror. Everything you are that they are not gets reflected right back in their face, and they absolutely hate looking at that painful reflection of their own fears and failures. So rather than doing the hard work of dealing with their own internal mess, it's infinitely easier for them to just project it outward and decide to hate you instead. Finally, section 5. How to protect your peace and disarm this toxicity. So how do we flip the script and actually take our power back? The source material lays out 3 absolutely crucial steps. First, stop trying to win them over. Just stop. You cannot logic someone out of a purely emotional, irrational stance. Second, don't take it personally. I know, that is incredibly hard to do in the moment, but remember that mirror concept. You're just the trigger, not the cause. The second you internalize that, their behavior completely loses its power over you. And third, and this is by far the most important one, keep being yourself. Do not shrink to make them comfortable. Refuse to dim your light just to appease someone else's insecurity. Because honestly, if you change yourself to make them happy, you lose. And the kicker? They still won't like you anyway. Let them be uncomfortable. That is their issue to work through, not yours. I'm going to leave you with this final empowering thought to carry with you. Once you actually see these patterns clearly, the selective hostility, the deliberate avoidance, the social invalidation, the reputation sabotage, and the success resentment, it stops messing with your head. You stop second-guessing yourself and trying to fix something that was never actually broken in the first place. You see the pattern, you understand the deep insecurity driving it, and you just keep moving forward. Because really, when someone hates you for absolutely no reason, why give them a reason to think